Welcome to this ICF Slalom podcast episode, part of the series running until the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. We bring you the inside stories from around the globe from the people who make canoe slalom so special. Here's your host, John Gregory.
A warm welcome to our fifth episode of this special daily series. Thanks for joining me. We bring you a short daily episode guiding you on what to expect the next day at the ICF 2025 Canoe Slalom and Kayak Cross World Championships, and a recap on the last day's racing in Penrith, Australia. Today I'm joined by Mallory Franklin from Great Britain and Joe Jacobi from USA. In yesterday's competition, we witnessed the kayak heats and the kayak teams. Results coming next, ahead of a preview of the men's and women's canoe semi-finals. First, congratulations to the National Federations winning medals in the men's and women's kayak team. In the women's K1 team, gold went to Czechia ahead of Germany and Slovenia. In men's K1 team, gold went to France ahead of Japan and Great Britain. To my knowledge, it's the first ever time Japan has been on a World Championship podium in the team races. So in the kayak heats, fastest in the K1 women was Tokyo Olympic champion Ricarda Funk from Germany with a composed, clean run. In the K1 men, fastest was Joe Jacobi from Czechia, and with the time trial gold medalist David Laurenti from Spain and reigning world champion Joe Clark from Great Britain both picking up penalties and going out. So to today's guests, I start with new mum Mallory Franklin, Olympic silver medalist in C1 women in Tokyo and double C1 women world champion from Po 2017 and Lee Valley 2023.
The atmosphere out in Sydney looks really, really cool. I am sad that I'm not there, but yeah, wouldn't be anywhere else. But it's really cool to wake up each morning and be able to catch up on the racing. And although there's a handful of us that are out with having babies or with Jess obviously recovering, there's still a really, really good standard and there's some really, really good canoeing going on. The girls are putting up some really good racing. I'm excited to see what happens in the semis and finals, and I hear the course is a little bit more challenging, so it could be fun to watch. And yeah, the boys have been really good. I think there's obviously some people kind of missing out with the new format, them not having experienced it that much at all this year, considering they only had, I guess, the European boats had the Euros, and then they've had Augsburg, obviously a bit different as well with the same course across that schedule. So I think it's a new experience for everyone, and I think that they seem to be putting on a really good show out there in Sydney, and I'm sure everyone's really enjoying it. And yeah, the racing looks good, and yeah, shout out to the British boats that want them to go on and get some medals. There's been some good results, some top 4 and 5s. Kim was second, I think. So yeah, it's really, really cool, and it looks like there should be some really good racing.
That was Mallory Franklin. She represented Great Britain at the Olympics in Tokyo and Paris. She spoke to us from Cheshunt, UK. Next, I spoke to my friend and co-commentator Joe Jacobi, Olympic champion in C2 from the Barcelona Olympics.
I think the World Championships are off to a great start. I am particularly moved, and you can really feel the athletes' excitement to be in Penrith. It's not just the course, which people clearly love the water, but you really get a sense that all the athletes really appreciate the culture, the effort of the organizers, all the thought and preparation that has gone into the event, which is great. Like, the athletes are really embracing that, and I love to see that. I think programmatically, so interesting to see an event take place before the opening ceremonies. I think it was a great way to stimulate some interest in the sport. Great to see some of the Spanish athletes paddling really well in that event, as with David Llorente, taking a gold medal already. Love seeing Elena Marks, known her for a long time, and great to see her on the podium as well. On the team races, I just saw some videos on social media. Holy cow, like, this is just such an amazing impression on the world that the French are making about where they are as a program in men's kayak and men's canoe. I just love seeing that. The level of paddling is so cool. But also to see a team like Japan, and you just look at all the amazing teams that Japan finished ahead of to end up on the podium. So good for the sport. Moving into the canoes and kind of winding down a few thoughts about the opening of the World Championships or the World Championships so far. I live in Liceo d'Urgell. I see the Spanish athletes training all the time. Of course, it is no secret how well Miguel Trave is developing as a canoeist, as a kayaker, as an all-around paddler. But I think now the depth of the canoeing program in Spain is really starting to show. We have two very young athletes that qualified for the semifinals with Mark Vincente Jr., who, by the way, whose father I used to race C2 with, and is the president of our club here in Liceo. And Oye is just doing so well. And what you don't see, what the world doesn't see, is actually how many good canoes Spain doesn't have racing at these World Championships. So it actually reminds me back in the day, in the late 1970s, early 1980s, mid 1980s, when the United States had so many good C1s that weren't making the national team just for lack of spots. I think starting to see that with Spain as well, and a lot of good young athletes that are continuing to train here in Liceo, even as these World Championships are going on. So, buckle up. It's going to be an exciting couple of days going forward. And I should also say, being that I live here and I see the investment that the Spanish athletes have made in kayak cross, and we already have a good result with David, but, Manu Ochoa is going to be racing in kayak cross. His level of specialization, I'm excited for him and see what happens. I know there's a lot of luck involved in the kayak cross. I don't say that based on my opinion. I just say that based on talking to the people who are winning medals in kayak cross today. But beyond that, of course, the amount of specialized training that I'm starting to see here in Liceo is absolutely fantastic. And a lot to look forward to. Hope everyone enjoys the World Championships. Again, thank you to the organizers down under, and Richard Fox doing such an awesome job there. Keep up the good work and enjoy the World Championships, everyone.
That was Joe Jacobi. He represented USA at the Olympics in Barcelona and Athens. He spoke to us from Liceo d'Urgell, Spain. Next in the race schedule are semi-finals, where the top 12 progress to a one-run final. Who will be crowned the 2025 World Champions? A recap of defending champions. Reigning champions from the last Worlds at Lee Valley in 2023 were Mallory Franklin and Benjamin Savsek. Newman Mallory Franklin is not racing in Penrith this year. Benny was 5th in the canoe heat. Winners from the Paris Olympics were Jess Fox from Australia and Nico Guestin from France. Again, Jess is not competing in Penrith while recovering from surgery. Nicolas Guestin, meanwhile, was 10th in the canoe heat. And then 2025 World Cup Series winners were Kimberly Woods from Great Britain and Nico Guestin. Finally, fastest in the canoe heat were Nuria Villarubla from Spain and Adam Kroll from Czechia. So after the third day's racing, France and Czechia lead the medal table with 2 golds apiece, all from the team races. In tomorrow's episode, we will recap on the women and men's canoe finals and preview the kayak semi-finals and finals. Thanks to my guests today, Mallory Franklin and Joe Jacobi. If you enjoy the daily podcast series, tell other people, send them a link, follow, or write a review. And if you need more, read Tori Evaldi's brilliantly insightful and eloquent blog. I'm John Gregory. I'll be back in our next episode, released tomorrow at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for listening.
That's it for now, but please subscribe to the podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or YouTube, and leave a review too. Until the next episode, keep it fast and clean.